Hello, my name is Justice Henderson, and this is me talking about mythology from my final. So, the question that was asked was, what does mythology mean for today? In today's culture, mythology is not really, I want to say, appreciated as much. Where there may be as books and references here and there in popular media, it's still underappreciated. For example, if you were to go to, let's say, a high school student or just any random college student that didn't learn mythology in high school or didn't choose a class such as this one and ask them a question, of course they wouldn't know. But if you were to go to another one that did, yes, they would know, but they wouldn't know the most about it, as they would get most of the references from the Rick Riordan books or Harry Potter, or from like books that they read in some of their classrooms. Now, I believe that this class will teach you actually a lot about mythology, as it did for me. Although I did learn mythology from my brother, from my parents, and from some of my family members who actually knew a lot about mythology, such as Zeus, Poseidon, and not just Greek mythology, but also Roman mythology, Thor, mostly for Odin mythology, and so on and so forth. But when I got into this class, I actually learned a lot more about it. For example, when I read the first book that was read before we had to get to The Power of Mythology, before we got to that one, the mythology book in today's culture and film and theater, that book, I actually did not know there was, like, for example, the Disney movie when it comes to Hercules. I did not know that with Disney that you couldn't really get as much from it. For a child of my age, I grew up in a household where everything was Disney this, Disney that. So I probably would say that I've seen the Hercules movie more than 30 times, probably more to be exact. And so I just always thought, oh, the story of Hercules was he was a demigod born of Zeus and Hera. He fought Hades to save a girl that he loved, pain and agony and all that, and the souls in the pool and things like of that nature. That was my first thing before I even took the class. I always thought that was what the story of Hercules was about. Now that I'm older and I took in this class, I know that was just Disney's way of making a cheap, quick buck out of what they didn't know per se. As the story of Hercules is very different. Now with the Rick Riordan books, I will always say that he touched right on the nose with what he needed to with that book. Well, with those books, may I say. For the Percy Jackson stories, with Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. Now, if you were to watch the movie, it would get it wrong. As I read the books, personally, I read the books, and the movie doesn't really do that much justice, although it does show very much Easter eggs of mythology, such as Medusa, such as Perseus, such as Zeus and Poseidon and Hades and all such and such. While they do show that in the movie, they don't really give as much as they do in the book. And as they only stopped making the movies after the second one, with the Sea of Monsters, where you get to meet the Cyclops, and, well, we all know how that turns out in that movie. Whereas in the books, they go into much more intricate detail, I may say, about it. Now, like I say, in today's media, with the knowledge that we have from this class, I personally believe that the next generation, if we do what our duty in teaching the next generation of mythology, then I am 100% sure that they will know more about it than we do in today's generation. For me personally, like I said, before I got into the classroom, I didn't know much. I knew some about it, but I didn't know as much as I do now. The Power of Myth book really was an eye-opener with the interviews as they spoke more and more about each other. And they were really shooting off of each other's ideas. And by far, the way that the book started off, in the very first chapter, and the very first question is, why mythology? The author the author immediately says, you don't need mythology to believe. You don't need to believe in mythology. That's not something that you need. It's just there to give you an eye-opener, basically. If you want to know how nature happens, or why there are seasons, such as, like, why is there a spring, summer, fall, and winter, of course, mythology will give you a reasoning for that. Now, you can also learn that in Christianity. You can also learn that probably in Judaism, or in whatever religion you believe in. But mythology, it gives you an answer for that. It's always going to be right there. And I enjoyed how he said that in the book. He said, you don't need to believe in mythology. Believe in what you want. Now, with that type of mindset, you can teach that to the new generation. Because there are people that ban the Harry Potter books because it says, oh, it promotes witchcraft. Or some families that ban the Rick Riordan books from their family, saying, we're a Christian household. We don't push mythology onto our students or onto our children or nothing like that, because that's not what we believe in. Now, granted, if that's how it is in a family, that's their rules, you can't change that. But in some schools, you're going to have to read that book or else you fail. So you don't have to believe in it, but you could take the time to learn into it. For believing and learning, obviously, are two different things. As you can believe in Jesus Christ, God, and everything. That's what I believe in. But I also learn about mythology. I know about the gods and the goddesses and everything. I know about those. Do I believe in it? Yes and no. It's not my religion, but I would believe in there being a reason for the seasons. Pun intended. But, so, in order for someone of our generation to get that message across, go out and you would tell them, you don't have to believe in it, but at the very least, you can at least learn about it. For example, if I was to put it as, let's say, you're a Christian living in a Christian household, and a Jehovah's Witness was to come to your door. Of course, while some person may turn them away and say, automatically, we don't believe in that, that's not our thing. There could be some person that'd be like, you know what? I don't believe in what you believe in, but I will invite you in to explain why do you believe in such a way. That's how it is, how it should be. Although you don't believe in mythology, you should at least take the time to invite mythology in and say, I don't believe in you, but I would like to learn about you. And that's exactly what the mythology class did. The books were very eye-opening. I read it more times than I needed to. Writing down the interpretations also gave me a way to express what I just read, as a way of saying, basically, each interpretation was a summary. So if I wrote out my interpretation and I didn't understand it, that means I didn't understand the book. But I understand the book perfectly, both of them. Especially the modern media. The one where they talked about movie and theater and such. Once again, going back to Hercules, they told you that while they may have taken from the one where it features Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, there are so many more incarnations of Hercules, where it's just in somewhat the same way. A hero who had a quest to solve, and that's what most of mythology is: a hero with a quest or a challenge that he must face or solve in order to get to his destination. So, to wrap it up in conclusion, I would say mythology mythology today, while it may not be as modern or as known about, it has the opportunity and the ability to get known about by more people. All we have to do is just read those two books. Now, granted, you don't need to. You don't need to read those two books to automatically be like, yep, I know exactly about mythology. You don't need to do that. But with the help of not just those two books, as many books as possible, you could actually know about mythology. My name is Just Hiddison, and that was my take on what is mythology like today.